As much as I like the concept of no-dig gardening, it doesn't really work in our heavy clay soil here in North Texas, Zone 8A. And the main reason is because it requires a lot of high-quality compost to create that bed that's about 5 to 6 inches high. And even if we had that much compost, with our heavy rains, all that compost get eroded, and then we have to bring in new compost. And by that point, we might as well put borders around that in-ground bed, and that will turn into a raised bed. In fact, we do have a few raised beds, but for several reasons, we decided not to build any new raised beds, and we made a video about that. And instead, we decided to work on our heavy clay soil and make it much better. And the first way we improve our soil is by using cow manure and mushroom compost. And since we don't have too much access to farm manure, we buy our cow manure and mushroom compost at Lowe's or Home Depot. And before we spread cow manure and mushroom compost, we spread this weed barrier or weed cloth, and we leave it here for several weeks, and it helps that our summers are extremely hot. So this cloth kills grass and weeds pretty quickly. You can see that this grass here is mostly dead. So pretty soon I'll be spreading some mushroom compost and also cow manure, mixing it with the soil, and then the soil is pretty much ready to be planted into. The only drawback about using cow manure and mushroom compost from Lowe's or Home Depot is that they don't really attract life to that soil. My guess is that they heat them up to such high temperatures that it kills all life in that manure and compost. But there is a way to bring life to your soil even with that compost and manure, and I will talk about in just a minute. But the reason why I keep using that specific cow manure and mushroom compost is that they improve heavy clay soil really well, and the results have been visible in our garden. The second way is what my husband did a couple of months ago. This in-ground bed is brand new that he created, and he removed 1 foot of topsoil, then he filled the hole with dry leaves, small brush, and then he brought all that soil back and then mixed the soil with cow manure. And this is how we have this wonderful in-ground bed, and all these plants are brand new that I planted a few weeks ago, and as you can see, they're doing really well in the soil. Another way we improve our heavy clay soil is by burying kitchen scraps straight into the ground without composting them. And this is perfect if you don't have access to farm manure, because all those kitchen scraps, as they break down, they attract earthworms, bacteria, and fungus, and that's what actually breaks them down in the soil, brings life to the soil, and also makes the soil much fluffier. And when we bury kitchen scraps, it doesn't have to be only kitchen scraps. It can be dead birds that we occasionally find in our backyard. It can be bones from your cooked chicken. It can be anything that used to be alive. It all can go in the ground and will feed that soil. A few weeks ago, I buried some kitchen scraps in the spot, and I'm curious to see what they look like. So we're going to dig in together and see what they look like. Okay, I see some leftovers from asparagus possibly. And let me look what we have here. I have some more asparagus leftovers, and then I don't see much of anything else. In other words, all those kitchen scraps, they break down really fast once you bury them into the ground, so you don't even need to compost them. This is a really good way to improve your clay soil, make it fluffier, and also bring different bacteria and earthworms into the soil. And also, burying kitchen scraps is free, and you can see results pretty quickly. Here's another way I work with our heavy clay soil. If I have some plants that I need to plant real quickly and the in-ground bed is not ready, I simply dig out 1 gallon of clay soil, and instead I put 1 gallon of good quality garden soil or compost and plant my plants right there. Now, this method does require using more compost or garden soil, but it's a pretty quick way to plant straight into the heavy soil if you don't have time to prepare it. And the final solution to our heavy clay soil is having drip irrigation. This year we installed drip irrigation all over our garden, and it's made a big difference. Compared to overhead watering, drip irrigation waters much deeper because it waters slower in a smaller amount. So all that water goes down to the roots of the plants, making the soil around the roots much softer, and it's easier for the roots to penetrate that soil and grow better. Last year, I tried to grow radishes and root vegetables in this same in-ground bed, and they did not do anything, even though they sat here for several months. They didn't really produce any bulbs. But this year, I really worked on the soil, adding cow manure and compost and minerals. And now let's see what our radishes look like. So I planted these radishes less than a month ago, and you can see how plump and good they look. They look like they're growing to their full potential. I'm going to keep them in the ground a little longer, even though some of them are quite ready to be harvested and used in salad or anywhere else. So really, it is possible to amend and improve your heavy clay soil without building expensive raised beds. So we'll keep working on our clay soil. It seems like every year it brings better results. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day.